Yo, what's up guys? You got pokeaim here, and today I have a moveset video guide on how to use Galarian Slowbro. Now, if this is your first video on my channel or you've watched a few of my videos and haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe. I have a lot of Pokemon Sword and Shield content coming out, from moveset video guides to Showdown lives to Wi-Fi battles, so definitely go ahead and subscribe. I apologize, by the way. I just got off like a 12-hour stream into a nap, so kind of still just waking up right here. But Galarian Slowbro is pretty cool because it is poison and psychic type, which gives it some really key resistances. Poison and fairy are the big ones that come to mind, because when I think of the OU tier, which is something I play, I see Pokemon like Toxapex and Clefable running around a lot, and this Pokemon naturally resists and also hits them for super effective damage. So the first set we have is Choice Specs Galarian Slowbro. We're abusing that base 100 special attack stat, and if you guys didn't know, Galarian Slowbro does have a new ability called Quick Draw, which is, I believe, a 20% chance to move first in their speed bracket. Basically, you have a chance to move before your opponent, even though you have base 30 speed. So let's say they have Dragapult out and I have Galarian Slowbro out. If my Quick Draw activates, I'll move before them and I'll hit them with a Psychic, unless they use something like Sucker Punch, of course, which is, you know, their priority would go before mine. But it's really cool too, because it gives this slow Pokemon just a shot at beating a lot of Pokemon that could otherwise defeat it. And it also has a really cool move in Shell Side Arm, which we will be talking about in a sec. But the Choice Spec set is the first one we're talking about. This is, again, abusing that special attack stat. We have Psychic. Psychic is our main stat. It's going to allow us to hit poison types like Toxapex, and it's neutral on Pokemon like Dragapult as well. Hits them for a lot of damage. Then we have Flamethrower. Flamethrower is basically necessary for steel types who resist and are immune to your psychic and poison stab moves. Flamethrower will allow you to nuke Ferrothorn. Then we have Shell Side Arm. So the way Shell Side Arm works is, and here's a quote from Cerebi.net, the move inflicts physical or special damage, whichever will be more effective. This may also target the poison the target. So the way I see it, and I've been using it on Wi-Fi, and I also noticed it has different animations depending on if it's doing physical or special damage, but I believe it still uses your special attack, right? And it's kind of like, if your opponent has higher special defense than defense, it will attack them on the physically defensive side with Shell Side Arm. So it'll do more to Pokemon like that. Kind of think how like Psyshock attacks your defense, whereas Psychic attacks your special defense, but this one is dependent on the one that is doing more damage to your opponent. So it's a pretty cool signature move. And then we have Grass Knot or Trick. Grass Knot allows you to damage Pokemon and Oko Pokemon like Hippowdon, and also deal super effective damage to Tyranitar, which otherwise resists every single one of your other moves. We have enough speed on this Pokemon to outspeed min speed Hippowdon. The rest was just pumped into max special attack and HP to better come in on Pokemon like Clefable as well as Toxapex. We also naturally outspeed Toxapex with this Eevee spread. The next set we have for Galarian Slowbro is an Assault Vest set. Now, this Pokemon, again, has some great resistances. Being able to resist Fairy is a huge thing, as well as Poison. So using an Assault Vest, you can easily come in on Pokemon like Toxapex. You also absorb Toxic Spikes, being a grounded Poison type. You're not a ground Poison, but you are a grounded Poison type. I want to clarify that because people keep thinking I'm saying, oh, that's not a ground Poison, it's a Psychic Poison. No, it's grounded. It's touching the floor. So it can absorb Toxic Spikes, which is really cool for Galarian Slowbro. And Regenerator is a great ability because you're switching back and forth, and it's allowing you to recover 1/3 of your maximum HP when you come back in. So they do 25% to you, right? You switch out, you come back in, you're back at full. That's just how it works. So the moveset we have right here is Psychic, Flamethrower, Scald, and Sludge Wave. So we also have Whirlpool / with Scald, and I'll be explaining that in a second. So the first move is obviously Psychic. Psychic allows you to deal with Toxapex. It's a 2 KO on Toxapex. It's your main stab. You're going to want to hit that. Does some decent damage to Pokemon like Dragapult as well. And then we have Flamethrower for what I mentioned before. You do not want to be walled by Steel types like Corviknight and Ferrothorn, so you do some nice damage to both of those. And then Scald is the next move. Scald allows you to do super effective damage to Hippowdon, as well as damaging Pokemon like Tyranitar as well. And just in general, it's really cool because you have a 30% chance to burn your opponent. So it's a really nice move to have, just a click, you know, it's just kind of free. Like even if they switch out to Ferrothorn, right, on Scald, yes, they resist it, but if you burn them, then Ferrothorn has basically been neutralized. And then Whirlpool is slashed next to it. Now the way Whirlpool works is that if you land it on your opponent, it traps them, right? It traps them for a couple turns. And the way some people might play around Slowbro is that if they have Ferrothorn out and they expect you to go for a Flamethrower, they might pivot out into Toxapex just to get like a free switch into their Hydreigon or like a Dark type or something on the Psychic. But if you go for Whirlpool as they switch into Toxapex, now they're stuck there for a couple turns and you can 2-hit KO them with Psychic. It also works the same way, like if they go from Toxapex into Ferrothorn, trying to pivot on the Psychic into something else, and you Whirlpool Ferrothorn, which has just came in, Ferrothorn has now become trapped, and then you can hit them with Flamethrower in the following turn, not having to worry about them switching out or anything like that. So it is an alternative to using Scald if you want that. And last move is Sludge Wave. Now with 124 special attack EVs, if you knock off a Clefable, which is something that is likely to happen with Pokemon like Ferrothorn, Mandibuzz, and a whole bunch of other knockoff Pokemon running around, you can 2-hit KO max special defense, max HP Clefable with Sludge Wave. I opted for the more consistent damage, and just because I think Shell Side Arm is better on specs or like a Life Orb set than a non-boosting one. So Sludge Wave is stronger, 100% accurate, and it 2-hit KOs Clefable if they're at full HP and they don't have leftovers, so if you knock them off. And the EV spread right here is, again, 124 special attack to 2-hit KO Clefable, excuse me. We have the speed tier to outspeed Hippowdon, which is something we're going for, which is really nice if you are running the Scald. Even Psychic does a good chunk to physically defensive Hippowdon, and the rest is put into HP. And again, you can just pivot into those Clefables, and you can pivot into those Toxapex a lot easier because of the Assault Vest and your Regenerator. Now next up, we have a Nasty Plot set. Now they did give Slowbro Nasty Plot this generation, which is so cool, right? And I really like that because it allows it to, previously only Slowking had Nasty Plot, so Slowbro didn't. But this allows Slowbro to really become a crazy offensive sweeper. Before it only had like to boost Calm Mind in terms of like special attacks. So Nasty Plot, Psychic, Flamethrower, and Slack Off is the moveset. Psychic and Flamethrower is really good coverage. I feel like you don't need Poison coverage on this one because you can beat Clefable anyway with Nasty Plot, boosting your special attack to +2, and then going for Psychic to deal with that. Now we do have either Black Sludge or Quick Claw. So let me explain this real quick. Black Sludge obviously is your Poison type leftovers. It gives you that recovery turn per turn, allows longevity alongside Slack Off and recovers. Now Quick Claw is a 20% chance to move first. Now we don't, if this does not stack, don't use this, obviously. We're still, in the beginning of the DLC. We're not 100% sure on information. We don't know if Quick Claw and Quick Draw stack, right? But if they do, that is effectively a 36% chance to move before your opponent. This is a base 30 speed Pokemon with a 36% chance to move before your opponent. So that's kind of the way, its probability work with those two stacked together. If that is the case, whoo, that's kind of clean. But that would be pretty cool because imagine you go for Nasty Plot and then something like Dragapult comes out and then your Quick Claw activates and you're able to knock them out with +2 Psychic. So that could be a pretty cool thing. Or your Quick Draw activates on something else. So if they do stack, again, it is a 36% chance to move first. Because you have the Quick Draw ability, Quick Claw will never ever activate. And I'll test this. I'll test this on Wi-Fi battles. I'll test this in the game just to see how it works. And I would love if other people would test it too. And get back to me on this. But, 36% chance to move first is fire. And then you have Slack Off again for that longevity. Psychic and Flame just give you some nice coverage. Flamethrower line to hit those steel attacks, which would otherwise wall you. And, pretty simple EV spread. We're still running that speed benchmark in an attempt to outspeed Hippowdon, as well as, outspeeding, I guess, min speed Conkeldurr, though a lot of them are running max speed, so don't bother with that. But minimum speed Conkeldurr, hit them with a super effective move. And, rest in HP. Now, this Pokemon does get Calm Mind, but I kind of feel like, being grounded and being weak to ground type attacks, I don't think Calm Mind is worth it. Because typically on Calm Mind Pokemon, if they're not like fast, like Alakazam, though Alakazam does get Nasty Plot now, right? Or they can't do something like with their physical defense, like a regular Slowbro. I will be making a guide on regular Slowbro as well. This is obviously Galarian Slowbro. They don't really like Calm Mind too much because in this case, this Pokemon isn't really taking hits too much, and I don't always want to depend on that 20% chance to move first. So I don't think that Calm Mind is actually necessary. I think if you want to use Calm Mind Slowbro, you use regular Calm Mind Slowbro, the Cantonian version, not the Galarian version of this. I feel like Nasty Plot is just a lot better. Shout out to my boy Finchinator, by the way, for working with me on these sets. I really do appreciate it. And I actually did a Wi-Fi battle earlier today on the channel. You guys can go ahead and check that out. Of me showing off Quick Draw Slowbro, and it was insane. It was insane. You gotta watch the battle. You have to watch the battle. I'm telling you, you have to watch a battle. But yeah, Nasty Plot gives it a chance of sweeping. And speaking of sweeping, this Pokemon still does have access to Trick Room. And the way Trick Room works is slower Pokemon move first under Trick Room. So with that, you can become a devastating sweeper. And I feel like I didn't talk about in the first set, but Trick is Slash with Grass Knot because it can give you a way of crippling Pokemon like Chansey. Though you'll be hitting them on the physical defense anyway with Shell Side Arm. Sorry, that was on the first set. My bad. But yeah, the final set we have is an offensive Trick Room set. So we're using Quiet Nature, Zero Speed IVs. That way we can, have the minimum speed possible. That way under Trick Room we can be extremely fast. Max HP, max special attack with a Life Orb. And we do have the Quick Draw ability because that way we have that 20% chance to move before our opponent outside of Trick Room. So it's pretty cool because you'll move first under Trick Room because you're a very slow Pokemon, but you also have that chance to move before your opponent outside of Trick Room and hitting them hard with a Life Orb attack. So the moveset we have is Trick Room, Psychic, Shell Side Arm, because again, I do think Shell Side Arm is worth it when you have a boosting item just because it's so powerful and its effects are really cool. And then either Flamethrower or Focus Blast is your last move. Flamethrower again gives you that way of hitting Steel types, Ferrothorn, Corviknight, but Focus Blast gives you that way of still hitting Ferrothorn, but also hitting Pokemon that would otherwise wall your dual stab, like Hydreigon as well as Tyranitar. So it really is up to you what you feel more comfortable with. Obviously, Focus Blast can miss too, and that's why I kind of opted for Flamethrower over Fire Blast there. I think that Flamethrower just does enough to a lot of Pokemon. But, you guys can let me know. This Pokemon does have some other cool stats. Obviously, it has base 100 attack, and it does get access to Belly Drum as well as Curse. I didn't really bother making those sets, but if you can get them to work, that is absolutely amazing. Like, I'm sure a Curse Slack Off set could be pretty cool. I'm sure Belly Drum in the Trick Room could be really cool too, or Belly Drum plus Quick Draw. If that's possible, that can also be something that is really sick for Galarian Slowbro. But yeah, guys, hope y'all enjoyed. I will be using this Pokemon at a later point. Check out the Wi-Fi battle that I did earlier today. And, subscribe. Subscribing, leaving a like. I'll have another moveset guide up tomorrow. And we're also doing a stream at twitch.tv/adrive for the next 2 days where 100% of the profits are going towards Games for Love, which is a charity helping out kids in hospitals. So if you guys want to come through, pull up to the stream. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye, my friends.